Am I the asshole for refusing to pay towards a car I don't own and can't drive? I live with my girlfriend in the UK. I work from home, so I don't need a car, but for her job, a car is essential since she works across different locations. I don't have my own car because it would be an unnecessary expense. I'm on the insurance for her car, so I can drive it, but usually, I only drive when we're going somewhere together since I enjoy driving and she doesn't as much. I chip in for petrol every month. Her car started having issues back in August, so she decided to look for a new one. She found one at the start of September, but had to get a small loan to cover it. She's paying £100 a month on it and asked if I'd pitch in £50. I agreed but made it clear that'd be my only contribution since I'm not on the title, and she was fine with that. I also said that I'd like to use the car myself when she's not using it, and she agreed. Last week, I had a day off work, and she was working from home, so the car was just sitting there. I asked if I could borrow it to go see family since she didn't need it that day. She said no and that she'd rather I didn't drive it without her for a while. When I asked why, she just repeated that she didn't want anyone else driving it right now. I reminded her of our agreement and pointed out that I'm also paying toward the car loan. She still said no, so I told her that if she's not going to let me drive the car, then I'll stop paying toward it. I don't think it's fair to contribute if she's going to refuse to let me use it on my own. She told me I was being unreasonable, but I don't think I am. Am I the asshole for refusing to keep paying towards the car when she won't let me drive it? Not the asshole. Based on her reaction, I'd be tempted to say she removed you from the insurance to make it cheaper and doesn't want you to drive it uninsured and get into trouble. Not the asshole. I don't know why you are paying at all, unless you pool your finances more generally. It isn't your car, and you don't use it except to be her chauffeur. Even chipping in for petrol is kind and not necessary. But if you don't have shared expectations, you need to talk about that, because it might be a symptom of different expectations in your relationship more broadly. Stop paying towards the car. Take your name off the insurance. If anything happens while she is driving it, you don't want your name brought into it. Also, this is a snapshot of your future. What's yours is hers. What's hers is hers. This is not an equal partnership. Not the asshole, and she needs to explain why she doesn't want you driving it. I'm usually a fan of, number, is a complete sentence. But you two talked about this beforehand and she agreed when you said you'd like to have the car when she's not using it. Without an explanation, it feels like she's trying to control you or punish you for something you're unaware of. Not the asshole. This is a very telling situation. Your girlfriend wants you to pay for half the car payment but you're not allowed to drive it. Red flag. Not the asshole, but I'd push harder on why. It seems like a weird reaction on her part. Am I the asshole for refusing to compromise on food rules I have for myself when cooking for two people? I have eaten mostly vegetarian for years with the exception of a few days a month, when I'm menstruating, and on those days, I eat meat. It's kind of a stupid thing and probably has no real benefit, but it's how I've fed myself since I started needing to and it's become an important part of my routine. My boyfriend, on the other hand, loves meat and has it with almost every meal. I love cooking and make most of the meals we have together. Recently, he has been hinting that if he's eating with me more often, I should eat meat with him. I made steak a few weeks ago and then his birthday happened when he asked for the same thing. He got quiet and distant after I made myself something vegetarian and said it would have been nicer if I had eaten the same thing as him. This all came to a boiling point last night when he brought chicken for me to cook for him. I told him I was happy for him to eat it himself, but if I wasn't eating it, I wasn't cooking it as I had already made a perfectly good meal. He doesn't treat me as a housewife or expect me to cook for him daily, but he doesn't understand why I wouldn't do this for him, since I was already cooking. I explained that I wasn't doing it specifically because I was already cooking and that I was offended that he didn't believe that the meal I made was good enough on its own. He got frustrated and later when talking to his friends, he mentioned it as a joke and they sided with him. I doubled down when I overheard this and he said that I should compromise if I'm making meals for both of us, and consider his tastes when deciding what to have. Am I the asshole? Sigh. You are not the asshole. You write that he does not expect you to play the housewife, or expect you to cook for him daily. I'm not sure where you're making the distinction because he very clearly expects you to cook for him on demand and he expects you to do it over if you did not cook what he wanted. Then he decided to take this issue to his pals. Does that sound respectful to you? There is nothing wrong with him wanting to eat meat more often than you do. There is something very wrong with him lacking the self-discipline and personal standards to cook the meat himself without even suggesting that you should do it. You are not the asshole, but I think you are not looking at his behavior with clear eyes. Not the asshole. If you're doing most of the cooking and are primarily vegetarian, you choose the content of the meal. He can always cook himself meat separately, if he needs it that much, and eat it along with the veggie stuff. I was vegetarian for 20 years including when I met my who was a carnivore. He never expected me to cook him meat. Period. He was just delighted to get a home-cooked meal. Your boyfriend sounds entitled as all hell. Not the asshole. What isn't with people who feel entitled to a personally cooked meal when someone is cooking? No, you shouldn't have to prep 2 separate meals. Yes, you should absolutely stick to the diet that works for you. He mentioned it as a joke. This is such an asshole move. Disguise criticism as a joke. Not the asshole. If he's dead set on eating meat, he's fully empowered and within his rights to cook whatever he wants. If he's dead set on you cooking for him, he can eat what's on offer. Just because someone is already cooking does not mean they're a short order cook. Holy shit. Not the asshole. He's free to cook it and eat it. You are free to not cook it and not eat it. He lost me when he got upset you weren't eating the same as him. That's controlling and immature. He doesn't treat me as a housewife or expect me to cook for him daily, but he doesn't understand why I wouldn't do this for him, since I was already cooking. He brought chicken for me to cook for him. Sounds like he's treating you like a housewife to me. The reason you're not doing it is exactly what you've already said. You're not a to-order cook station. Am I the asshole for telling my grandma she can't wear blue at my wedding? Please read the entire thing. My 24F fiancé, 25M, are getting married in June and we've invited our families, obviously. The colors we chose are light blue, tan, and navy blue. For a little bit of context, my parents went through a horrible divorce when I was 13. My dad's mom, the grandma I'm talking about, was very hateful to my mom and just outright disrespectful to her, so I'm not her biggest fan. She's always gone against the rules and done whatever she's wanted to with no repercussions. She enables my dad, who is an addict, and she knows it's wrong, not important but just trying to set the scene. It's a little awkward going to family gatherings on my dad's side because I feel like the black sheep of the family. My sister, 33F, is my half-sister on my dad's side. We've become closer through the years. My grandma called me about 2 p.m. today and we talked about wedding stuff and she asked me what I wanted her to wear. I told her I wasn't picky, just no white and no light blue. Later today, my sister and my grandma went to JCPenney to shop. My sister found a dress she loved. It's also important to note my sister is a bridesmaid in my wedding. They're wearing light blue. My grandma sees the dress and loves it as well, saying it would be perfect for the wedding. However, she meant for herself, not for my sister. My grandma bought a light blue, almost white, dress to wear to our wedding. My sister told me about it, as she thought my grandma had bought the dress for her and didn't realize that she bought it for herself. My sister is not the brightest bulb in the box. And my grandma picked the dress when my sister walked away from it because it was too expensive for her to buy for herself. I know this is my grandma, it's not that deep, but it does upset me she chose a color I specifically asked her to not wear, as my wedding party is wearing that color. Since she has a habit of going against the rules and wearing whatever she wants, this doesn't surprise me. We have recently thought she has been having some memory problems, but I'm not sure. I haven't confronted her yet, but I plan to. I just don't know if I'm being an asshole by confronting her. Tia. I don't know if you're the asshole, but you're definitely sweating the small stuff. Do you think she deliberately chose a color you asked her not to wear? If yes, maybe this is a bigger issue. Do you think she will do other stuff to annoy you at the wedding? The odds of someone thinking a grandma is a member of the bridal party of a 24-year-old will quickly be dispelled as soon as the wedding starts, when she's not standing with the bridal party during the procession. And anytime anyone breaks the rules with their choice of wedding attire, they always end up looking foolish. Did you actually give people color swatches in the invitations so they won't come close to wearing your colors? This sounds like such a minor blip to worry about. You are the asshole. It's not a rule to not wear the color of the wedding party. You are the asshole because you are taking the micromanaging to a ridiculous level. You are the asshole for telling us to read the whole thing. None of this matters. If you want sympathy, go to a wedding sub. They go crazy about this type of stuff. Because of course everyone will mistake grandma for a member of the bridal party. Frankly, I don't see that it's such a big deal if she wears it or doesn't wear it. You should forget it and move on. It will save so much aggravation, infighting, and overall stress. You need to pick your battles. Am I the asshole giving sugar to my toddler? My wife and I have a 4-year-old daughter together. My daughter doesn't drink enough water in a day. If we give her a cup of water, she will have just a few sips rather than finish the entire cup more often than not. So what I like to do is add some juice to that cup of water to make it flavorful so she drinks more and is well hydrated throughout the day. Usually, the cup is filled 90% water and 10% organic orange juice. She will drink that entire cup 3-4 times per day. The past 2 days my daughter has complained her tummy hurts. My wife blames me for adding juice to her water. My wife has always taken issue with that drink and she's very adamant about how we should give her only water and no juice at all because of the sugar. Meanwhile, my wife oftentimes gives my daughter cookies or candy first thing in the morning. Orange juice can definitely cause reflux, tummy issues due to the acid, although something like 10% juice, 90% water is not going to cause an issue absent an actual allergy. If she's drinking the cup with that mix 3-4 times a day, that's equivalent of less than half a cup of orange juice a day, which is totally fine for a 4-year-old. However, you also said, the past 2 days, that her tummy hurt, whereas it sounds like you've been giving her juice for longer, which seems to limit the chances that it's an actual issue with her diet causing temporary, short-term tummy issues and more likely to be a minor bug. Either way, complaining about less than half a cup of organic juice a day when she's feeding her candy and cookies is insane. Not the asshole. Cookies for breakfast is way more likely to upset her tummy than a little juice and water. What is she thinking? Lots of parents add a little juice to water, for the same reason. The water that's more healthy is the water she drinks. Not the asshole. Oh, for Pete's sake, it's a dot of juice in a sea of water. Your wife needs to let you parent too. Carry on. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. My wife blames me for adding juice to her water. Correlation is not causation. Investigate before tossing around accusations. You're not giving her sugar, you're giving her hydration with a side of strategy. Parenting is just tactical negotiations with tiny, irrational humans, and honestly 90% water with a splash of juice is a pro move. Your good slightly smiling face. 10% juice, 90% hydration, 100% in trouble with your wife. Classic dad math cold sweat smile.